In the quiet hum of a mid-tier restaurant, a story unfolded that would redefine the meaning of wealth, connection, and the human spirit. It is a narrative that begins with isolation, traverses a moment of profound, unscripted kindness, and culminates in a transformation that money could never engineer, but that only the heart could facilitate. This is the story of a billionaire father, his disabled son, and a black waitress whose simple, courageous act of seeing another person not for their limitations, but for their possibilities, became the catalyst for a life-altering epiphany. To explain this speech, which is essentially a parable for our times, we must delve deep into the layers of its meaning, exploring the characters, the moment of change, and the seismic shifts in perspective that followed. Our story's protagonist, the billionaire father, is a man who exists in a world most can only imagine. His life is a meticulously curated portfolio of assets, influence, and power. He moves through boardrooms and private jets, his every whim anticipated, his every command executed. His success is built on a foundation of relentless logic, strategic calculation, and an unwavering belief in quantifiable outcomes. He has conquered the material world, but in doing so, he has perhaps inadvertently built a fortress around his own humanity. His son, let's call him Leo, represents the one variable in his life that cannot be optimized, controlled, or acquired. Leo lives with a physical disability, perhaps cerebral palsy or another condition that affects his motor skills and speech, confining him to a wheelchair. For the father, Leo is both his greatest love and his most profound sorrow. He sees his son's condition as a problem to be solved, a deficit to be managed with the best medical teams, the most advanced technology, and the most exclusive therapists. He loves Leo fiercely, but his love is filtered through a lens of pity and a desperate, futile desire to fix him. Their interactions, though filled with good intentions, are often tinged with a silent grief, a chasm of unspoken frustration and sadness. The father's world, for all its golden opulence, is a place of emotional scarcity when it comes to connecting with his son on a purely human level. Enter the waitress, a young woman named Maya. Her world is the antithesis of the billionaire's. She operates not in the rarefied air of corporate suites but in the bustling, unglamorous reality of a restaurant floor. Her wealth is not measured in stock options or property holdings, but in resilience, empathy, and a deep, intuitive understanding of human connection, forged in the fires of her own life experiences. As a black woman, she navigates a society that often prejudges her, that overlooks her intelligence and diminishes her worth. She knows what it is to be unseen, to be relegated to a background character in other people's stories. This very experience, however, has honed her ability to truly see others. Her job is one of service, a role that society often deems lowly, but which she approaches with a quiet dignity. She is an observer of human nature, attuned to the subtle dynamics at her tables, the strained conversations, the silent pleas for acknowledgement, the unspoken stories. The setting is a Tuesday evening. The restaurant is neither empty nor full. The father, wanting a normal night out, has brought Leo to this unassuming place, a stark contrast to the five-star establishments he usually frequents. He is tense, his mind likely elsewhere, on a merger or a market fluctuation. He is mechanically going through the motions of dinner, cutting Leo's food, speaking to him in a kind but distracted tone, his eyes occasionally flicking to his phone, a symbol of the world that constantly demands his attention. Leo, however, is captivated by the environment. His eyes are alive, taking in the lights, the sounds, the energy, and most of all, he is captivated by the music. The restaurant has a small, mediocre jazz trio playing softly in the corner. A particular rhythm, a syncopated beat, catches Leo's ear. This is the first critical element of the speech, the power of art and rhythm to transcend physical limitation. Music operates on a frequency that bypasses the cognitive and speaks directly to the soul. For Leo, whose body is a prison, the rhythm is a key. It offers a form of expression that his physical form denies him. He begins to move. It is not a graceful movement by conventional standards. It is a jerky, spastic, yet utterly heartfelt motion of his head and his one good arm, keeping time with the beat. It is his dance. To his father, this movement is another painful reminder of his son's condition. He feels a familiar wave of embarrassment and pity, not for himself, but for Leo. He might gently try to still his son's arm, offering a quiet shh, his heart aching. He sees the disability, the aberration from the norm. Maya, clearing a nearby table, sees something entirely different. She does not see a disabled child making awkward movements. She sees a young boy enraptured by music, expressing pure, unadulterated joy in the only way he can. She sees the dancer within. She recognizes the universal language he is speaking. This is the second crucial element, the act of truly seeing. Where the father saw brokenness, Maya sees wholeness. Where he saw a problem, she saw a person. This is the core of empathy, not sympathy, which maintains a distance between the observer and the observed, but empathy, which connects through shared understanding. Maya, in her life, has had to express her own worth and joy in environments that might not readily acknowledge it. She connects with Leo's impulse to express himself despite the constraints placed upon him. And then she does the extraordinary. She acts. This is the third pivotal element, courage translating empathy into action. It would have been easy, safe, and professionally prudent for her to simply smile and continue working. The social barriers are significant. She is a black waitress. He is a white billionaire's son. Any misstep could be misinterpreted, could lead to complaint, could cost her job. But her impulse is human, not professional. She walks over to the table. She catches Leo's eye, and she smiles a genuine, beaming smile that acknowledges not his chair, but his rhythm. She then begins to move with him. She doesn't take over. She doesn't perform. She follows his lead. She matches her own movements, her own sway, to the staccato beat he is creating with his arm and head. She is, in that moment, not a waitress serving a customer, but one human being connecting with another through the medium of music. She is saying, without words, "I see your dance. It is beautiful, and I will dance it with you." The effect on Leo is electric. His face transforms. His eyes, already bright, now shine with a validation he rarely experiences. Someone is not just tolerating his expression, they are joining it. They are celebrating it. He is not being managed. He is being collaborated with. For perhaps the first time in a public space, he feels not like a disabled person, but simply like a person, a boy sharing a dance. Now, we turn to the father. This moment is the seismic event, the catalyst for the change promised in the title. His life changes not because of a business deal, but because of a dance. His initial reaction is likely one of shock, even offense. Who is this waitress? What does she think she is doing? This is my son. This is a private moment. His protective, controlling instincts flare. But then, he looks at Leo. He sees the unbridled joy on his son's face, a joy he has never been able to elicit through any amount of therapy or expensive gifts. He sees the pure, uncomplicated connection between his son and this stranger. And in that moment, the billionaire's entire worldview begins to crack and crumble. This is the essence of the speech. The father undergoes a profound epistemological shift, a change in how he knows what he knows. His entire life has been governed by a hierarchy of value, where things are measured by their price tag, their efficiency, their ROI. His son's condition was the ultimate failure of this system because it could not be bought away. He had applied the tools of his trade money, influence, expertise to the problem of his son, and he had failed to produce the desired outcome, a normal boy. He saw Leo through the lens of deficit. Maya's action demonstrates a different currency altogether, the currency of human connection, of presence, of creative empathy. She achieved in 10 seconds what millions of dollars could not. She made his son feel truly, utterly seen and celebrated for exactly who he was in that moment. She offered not a solution, but a partnership, not a cure, but a connection. The father's epiphany is multifaceted. First, he realizes that his wealth, the very thing that defined his power and identity, is impotent in the realm of human spirit. It can provide comfort, but it cannot provide connection. It can hire caregivers, but it cannot hire genuine love. It can build walls to protect, but those very walls become the prison that isolates. He understood poverty for the first time, not material poverty, but spiritual poverty. He, the billionaire, was the poor one. Maya, the waitress, was rich in the only wealth that truly matters. Second, he redefines his understanding of his son. He stops seeing Leo as a broken version of a whole child and starts seeing him as a whole child who happens to have a different way of moving through the world. The disability shifts from being Leo's defining characteristic to being one aspect of his being. The father realizes that his own perception was the true disability, limiting his ability to connect with his son's essence. He had been so focused on what Leo couldn't do that he became blind to all that Leo could be and already was. Leo wasn't waiting to be fixed.